Hi everyone. How are you doing today? For today's quick guide we have my favorite Pokemon, and who would have thought that I had to think twice before buying this one because 10,000 coins was a lot. Nowadays I have played the game for 2 months before I can buy any of the newly released Pokemon. But now I'll stop complaining for a while so we can talk about Lucario. Lucario is a very mobile all-rounder. He can move around so much that he might as well be called a speedster instead. This Pokemon has arguably the best early game this game has ever seen. With high mobility, damage and an unmatched potential to secure farm, you'll for sure provide your lane partner with an early lead. But keep in mind that Lucario is at his strongest at the early game. As the match goes on, the gap between you and your enemies will be smaller, unless you are able to secure a good level lead. Despite Lucario's passive, he's not that tanky. So you need to be careful not to be one-shotted by speedsters, and try not entering teamfights without having a way out in case you need to run away. You can play this Pokemon in the central area, but you shouldn't. As I said, you can beat anything in the early game, so it would be better if you played in lane. It would make stacking your attack weight easier for you as well. With all of that in mind, let's head into the practice area and take a look at what Lucario can actually do. First, starting with your passive. When your health is lower than 50%, you'll get a shield and will move faster for 5 seconds. This ability can only trigger once each minute. This passive adds so much survivability for Lucario, especially in the early game when everyone doesn't deal that much damage at once. And you can see when the passive is active but can't see the cooldown, so try keeping track using the match timer. Lucario's basic attack has more range and hits twice. On the second attack you'll also stun your enemies. Both hits can deal critical damage. There's not much to talk about here, it's just a good attack. And since you throw your enemy into the air, you can make your enemies unable to go through Hoopa's hyperspace hole for a brief time. Now let's go over Lucario's moves. Your first choice will be either Quick Attack or Meteor Mash. You'll get the other one at level 3. I recommend starting off with Quick Attack, because it has a lower cooldown and helps you move around. This move is a dash that deals way too much damage this early and has a really good range as well. You will use this move both to last hit everything and to keep you alive when needed. Quick Attack is even stronger when used together with the next move we'll talk about. And this move is Meteor Mash. You'll stun and push your enemies away while dealing some good damage. Okay, this one does some stuff. You can use this one to secure as well, although it's a little harder, but it's a good choice for when you think you don't want to change your position. One example of when this might happen is when the enemy jungler is in your lane at 850, so you might not want to dash forward since you will get in their attack range. And since this move stuns, you can Meteor Mash then quickly input your Quick Attack in the same direction. This way you will get a ton of damage. You can basically secure farm at half health with this combination. If your enemies are not careful, you can take them down out of nowhere as well. This is one of the reasons why Lucario is almost unbeatable in the early game. When you reach level 5, you get to pick between Extreme Speed and Power Up Punch. Extreme Speed is a complicated dash that deals damage and heals you a little. When you pick this move, you'll start to see those blue rings around your enemies, and every time you hit an enemy that has this ring, it will disappear and Extreme Speed's cooldown will be reset. You can hit multiple targets with the same Extreme Speed and only one of the blue rings will be consumed. This ring will reappear in the same target after 10 seconds. After the dash you can quickly press your basic attack button to do another attack. When this move upgrades, your damage will be increased by 7.5% during 2 seconds when you use this move. And you don't even need to hit anyone to get this buff. So, this is a really cool and not so easy to use move. You'll get the most damage out of Extreme Speed when you can get your enemies close to someone else in their team or wild Pokemons. This way you can try to align your Extreme Speeds to hit all of them multiple times. If you're experiencing some lag or high ping, do yourself a favor and don't play this. Since once you miss the first one, you'll be really vulnerable. The same will happen if you get stunned during the dash, so be careful. And if you're willing to get a little further into this Pokemon, you can also cancel the attack after Extreme Speed's dash animation with another move. So you can, for example, use your dash, then press your other move in whichever direction you want, then quickly use your basic attack. This way you'll get your spin and, in this case, meteor mash at the same time. The damage you get will be the same, but you can use your moves faster this way. The other option in this slot is Power Up Punch. This is a chargeable dash that deals damage to the first enemy you hit, but you'll go through the whole trajectory anyway. While charging, you'll take 30% less damage. And as you can guess, the damage will be increased when you reach that line on the charge bar. This move also deals additional damage based on the target's missing HP. On wild Pokémon this bonus is capped at 1000. Also, every time you hit your other move, Power Up Punch's cooldown will be reduced by 1 second. The upgraded move will make you unstoppable while charging. Those two moves receive their upgrades at level 11. Despite only hitting one target at a time, this move is way easier to use because not only you'll be tankier, but you won't need to work that hard for your damage. And since you deal bonus damage based on the target's missing HP, you can easily finish off your enemies and secure objectives. Just don't forget you can use this move with the unstoppable status to run away as well. When you reach level 7, your next move will be either Bone Rush or Close Combat. Let's start with the more complicated stuff and talk about Bone Rush. You'll throw a bone that pushes enemies and deals damage 3 times from close range and 3 from long range. If your target is close to you when you use the move, you'll get all 6 hits. After that the bone will stick to the ground. Keep in mind that the bone will be stopped by walls. If you use the move again, you'll be teleported to the bone's location dealing damage in that area. Enemies hit by Bone Rush will immediately get their blue ring from Extreme Speed back, regardless of how much time passed since they got hit by Extreme Speed. You can also use this move to cancel the animation of the boosted attack from Extreme Speed. The upgraded move will reset your other moves' cooldowns after you teleport to the bone. The damage on this move is not that impressive. But this teleport is an insane mobility tool. You can place the bone before jumping toward your enemies if you want, then you have a button that allows you to instantly get away. If that's not crazy enough, this move increases the damage you can deal with Extreme Speed by resetting its cooldown even more times, and trust me, you'll need those extra hits if you're fighting an A1v1 scenario. And for Power Up Punch, remember that this move can hit up to 6 times, so this by itself can reset its cooldown once. Your other option in this move slot is Close Combat. You'll attack an area in front of you, healing for each hit. While this move is active, you'll be unstoppable and unable to move. After that your next boosted attack will have more range and will get you close to your target. The upgraded move will deal more damage. These two moves receive their upgrades at level 13. This is the only move that doesn't help you move around, instead it's entirely focused on dealing damage. The unstoppable here is nice, but it can be a little tricky to hit the whole move. You'll need to guess which side your enemy is going to walk to. Some people don't even think about where they're walking, so you can just use Close Combat and it will land. Experienced players will change their trajectory, that's when you'll need to guess. You can also do the Extreme Speed cancel here, although it doesn't work very well. This is also your move with more hits, so you can easily reset your Power Up Punch. Lastly we have Lucario's Unite. Sadly it's just impressive visually. You'll throw a huge ball of energy that has a massive range. Your next Power Up Punch will deal more damage, and will restore the blue ring from Extreme Speed as well. The buffs you get from this Unite move are 30% movement speed increase, 30% cooldown reduction and a shield equal to 20% of your maximum HP. Okay, so this move looks really cool, but is really bad. It takes roughly 24 hours to come out. Sometimes it feels like you press the button and you'll only see the Unite move in your next match. There's a good use for it though. From close range this move can deal a lot of damage and who would stand close to you for all that time? Objectives. So you can use this move as a good tool to last hit as well, and in case it wasn't enough, you can use your stronger Power Up Punch afterwards. Now that we know what this Pokémon can do in your matches, let's take a look at some item choices that can better aid you in your games. First let's start with the battle items. There are a lot of viable choices here. The first one is X Attack, which goes very well with Power Up Punch, where that extra damage and attack speed can be really useful, since you will be tankier while charging anyway. X Speed works well with almost anything, you can't go wrong with this one. Slow Smoke also has some use here. It can make it so you never miss your close combat since your opponent can't run away in time. And lastly we have Full Heal. This helps a lot, especially with Extreme Speed, this way you won't get interrupted in the middle of your moves. Now for the held items. The best choice in my opinion and is almost mandatory here is Attack Way. It will give you a lot of extra damage throughout the match and you can easily get your 6 stacks really early with Lucario. But let's try not mindlessly jumping into their goal zone. A stack is almost never worth a KO for it. Next we have the 3 items that will increase your damage output as well. Razor Claw gives you extra damage after any move, which you'll be using almost all the time. You can trigger this item using the basic attack after the extreme speed. Weakness Policy will increase your attack after you got hit sometimes, since your healing and shields, including your passive, scale of your attack stat, this will help you survive a little longer as well. Muscle Band will make your basic attack stronger and I'm almost sure it affects even your special basic attack after extreme speed. Focus Band is a good defensive option if you feel like you need to survive a little longer, making this a good option as well. Energy Amplifier will increase your damage for a short time after using your Unite move, making the Unite itself stronger. As we discussed earlier, this is mainly used to help you secure objectives. You can also run EO's Cookie as well for some extra health, since most of the time you will be able to stack anyway. Buddy Barrier can help your team a little and also gives you a small shield to help you fight. Scope Lens is not that useful, only the basic attacks and the last hit of extreme speed can critically hit. Rapid Fire Scarf is not great as well, most of the time you won't be using your basic attacks enough to even trigger this effect. Score Shield is just here in case you feel like running it. You won't get a lot out of this one. I wouldn't bother with other options besides these ones. And for the boost emblem choices, my recommendations are either white or brown emblems. Prioritizing your health and attack stat. There's not too much that can help you a ton here, so the emblems are a bit boring this time. And that's all you need to know in order to understand how to play and make your builds for Lucario. Since the early days of Pokémon Unite, Lucario was always a good pick. He even received some nerfs as the time passed and despite all of it he remains a really strong Pokémon to play, so if you're looking for a new Pokémon to play, I highly recommend this one since I think he'll still be around for a while. I hope you found this guide helpful and if you want to see more Pokémon Unite content, please consider subscribing, I would really appreciate having you around. Thank you so much for watching. And I hope to see you next time.